Hi guys, welcome to Math with Mr. Husky. Today we're going to do section 6-2, proportions. Two definitions for you. A proportion is when two ratios are equal. One way we can tell that is we can use cross products. Cross products is when you multiply the diagonals of two ratios to see if they form a proportion. So you're going to multiply the denominator of one by the numerator of the other, and do the same thing with the numerator and the other denominator. Down here we have A over B equals C over D. To do cross products, we take B times C and set it equal to A times D. If this is true, the two ratios form a proportion. So here we have to solve it. We have to solve for our missing variable, so we're going to do cross products. Here we're going to do 9 times 4 is equal to 6 times x, or just 6x. We simplify this, we get 36 equals 6x, and we do a one-step problem. We solve for x, which is dividing by 6 on both sides. So we're left with x equals 6. So that would make our two ratios form a proportion. Our next example is we have two sets of ratios. We have to tell if the two ratios form proportions. So the way we do it is we set them up into proportions. So we say 15 over 20 equals 5 over 7. And we use our cross product. We say 5 times 20 is 100 equals 15 times 7 equals 105. Since that's not equal to each other, we say no, this is not a proportion. Our second example over here, we can do it two different ways. We can use cross products, or we can look at the ratios and see what they have in common. So if I notice, to get from 3 to 9, I multiplied by 3. If I multiply by 3 to the bottom, I get 21. So we know that these two fractions are equivalent, so we know these are also proportions. If we did cross products, we would do 9 times 7, which is 63, and then we can do 3 times 21, which is also 63. So we say, yes, that works. So two different ways we can tell if they're proportions. Cross products will always work. Looking for common fractions and seeing if they're equivalent won't always work. Our last part is we need to write a proportion from a word problem and then solve. So 100 nautical miles equals about 115 standard miles. If Haley takes her yacht out and travels 156 nautical miles, how many standard miles did she go? So let's take the important parts out. We have 100 nautical miles is equal to about 115 standard miles. If Haley takes her yacht out and travels 156 nautical miles, how many standard miles did she go? So let's go ahead and make a proportion using the first part. We have 100 nautical miles over 115 standard miles. Our next part of this proportion, when we set it up, we need to make sure our units are similar on the top and the bottom. So our first ratio, we had nautical miles on the top, so we need nautical miles on the top of our second one. So if she traveled 156 nautical miles, how many standard miles did we go? We don't know how many she went, so we're going to say x, and it goes on the bottom because our first ratio had standard miles on the bottom. So if we use cross products now, we have 115 times 156 equals 100 times x, or 100x. We simplify this, we're going to get 17,940 equals 100x, and we have to solve for x by dividing by 100. So x equals 179.4. This does not answer our question because we're just saying what x equals. So my final answer, I must say 109.4 standard miles. Have to make sure we answer the question fully. That's all for this lesson, guys. Don't forget to subscribe.